Wemby just did it again. Wemby logged 40 minutes tonight and somehow looked fresher than half the Heat bench by the final buzzer. He led all Spurs in minutes, which speaks volumes considering how tight the game stayed. His final stat line, 27 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks, 1 steal, and just 3 turnovers. That's a box score that looks like it was built in a lab. He took 23 shots and made 10, so 43.5% from the field. Not jaw-dropping, but when you factor in how often he had the ball and the quality of looks he generated, it makes sense. And then you factor in his true shooting percentage, that came out to around 55.2%. Add in his 6 of 8 performance at the free throw line, and it's clear he made his scoring chances count. Now his three-point shooting did take a dip. He went 1 for 5 from beyond the arc, which clocks in at 20%. Definitely not where he wants it, but he didn't let that affect the rest of his performance. He kept taking smart shots inside and stuck to what was working. His usage rate was close to 29%, the highest among the Spurs starters, and yet he still managed to keep his turnover count low at just 3 for the entire game. Rebounding-wise, he pulled down 18 boards. That included 16 defensive rebounds and 2 offensive. That alone made up over a third of San Antonio's total rebounds. The team grabbed 48 in total, and Wemby grabbed more than a third of them himself. The rebounding percentage for him individually came in around 24.5%, which is the kind of number you usually only see from dominant glass cleaners. His defensive rebound rate hit 30%, which tells you all you need to know about how he shut down Miami's second chance opportunity. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, defensively, he anchored everything. He blocked 5 shots, more than any other player in the game. And that's not just for the highlights. His estimated block rate hit 10% of opponent 2-point attempts while he was on the court. That's an absurd number. Like video game levels of shot deterrence. The Heat struggled to get anything easy near the rim when he was nearby. In fact, their field goal percentage inside 10 feet dropped sharply anytime he was involved in the contest. His estimated defensive rating sat at around 102. When a guy is that disruptive and still manages to avoid fouling out while logging 40 minutes, you know his timing and instincts are on another level. The Spurs outscored the Heat by 3 points during the time he was on the floor, and that's despite several of the other starters posting negative plus-minus numbers. On offense, he wasn't just scoring, he was facilitating too. He finished with 6 assists, which tied for the second most on the team behind only Stephon Castle, who had 8. Wemby assisted on around 23% of San Antonio's field goals while he was out there. That's an elite rate for any front court player, let alone a 7'4" center with the wingspan of a commercial aircraft. His passing from the high post and short roll kept the Heat defense scrambling. He found Castle and Vassell on multiple occasions, and those two combined for 38 points. The fact that he only committed 3 turnovers, despite all that ball handling and playmaking, that's just ruthless efficiency. His turnover rate came out to around 9%, and considering how involved he was in every half-court set, that's ridiculous. His overall impact was reflected in his game score, which was estimated to be around 27.5. That level usually correlates with all NBA production, and he earned every bit of it. He was responsible for over a quarter of the Spurs' total points, 37% of their rebounds, and nearly a quarter of their assists. That's a full-on takeover in every major category, and it was not just about volume. The quality of his impact mattered too. He didn't stuff the box score in garbage time or pad stats in meaningless possession. Everything he did had weight. His interior presence stopped the Heat from getting easy looks, and his ability to create offense on the other end helped the Spurs survive their cold spells. What makes it even more wild is how rare his stat line actually is. The 27 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 blocks put him in very exclusive company. Only a handful of players in league history have hit those numbers more than once. Think names like Kevin Garnett, Anthony Davis, and Joel Embiid. Wemby just added his name to that short list. His contribution on the glass single-handedly flipped the rebounding battle. The Spurs won that fight 48-39, and without him, that margin probably swings the other direction. His defensive rebounding especially made sure the Heat had very few second chances to work with. That's the kind of silent impact that doesn't always show up in quick highlight reels, but it changes games. And even with the long arms flying around in the constant rim contests, he stayed disciplined. He avoided silly foul, didn't get baited into bad switches, and still found time to guide the offense. That level of balance is hard to find in someone that young. especially when you throw in the pressure of an unbeaten start to the season. This was not some hot shooting night or lucky bounce stat line. He had to work for every bucket, every rebound, every assist. His shot selection stayed steady, even when the three ball was not falling. He focused on high percentage looks inside, attacked the glass with energy, and moved the ball when he saw teammates with better shots. It is hard to overstate just how complete this performance was from a statistical standpoint. He was the top scorer, the top rebounder, the top shot blocker, and nearly led the team in assists. And he did all of it while playing every meaningful minute of the game. No extended rest, no coasting through quarters. Just 40 straight minutes of impact on both ends. San Antonio walked away with a 107-101 win over the Heat, and Wemby's fingerprints were all over it. From carrying the scoring load, to anchoring the defense, to setting up teammates with smart passes, he was at the heart of everything. This is not the kind of box score you see from role players. This is what happens when a team's best player decides to take over in every category and does it efficiently. Even with the three-point shot not connecting the way it normally does, he found ways to make his presence felt on every possession. And that's exactly what the Spurs needed. With the team now sitting at 5-0, their best start in franchise history, it's not a coincidence that Wemby's performances have been the anchor behind that record. There's nothing flashy about the numbers, just a towering stat line filled with rebounds, points, assists, and blocks. But if you look a little closer, you can see just how rare that mix is and how few players can consistently deliver that kind of all-around production. But the thing is, if we look at his scoring, we can see how great he's really been. Wemby has been scoring at a pace this season that puts him ahead of over 97% of the league. He's averaging 31 points per game, and it's not just about how many points he's racking up. It's the efficiency behind it that makes it so ridiculous. Most high-volume scorers need a lot of shots to get there. He doesn't. His true shooting percentage is 67.4%, and that's not normal for a guy putting up this kind of output. Start with the raw shot totals. He's averaging 18.3 field goal attempts per game. From those, he's making an average of 10 two-point field goals and 1 three-pointer per game. So out of those 18 shots, 11 are going in, which gives him an effective field goal percentage of 63%. That means he's producing more points per shot than most players even dream of. When you break it down, he's getting 1.3 points per field goal attempt. That's not just above average. That's elite, and it puts him ahead of 73% of players in the league when it comes to how much value he's squeezing out of every possession. His two-point scoring is doing the heavy lifting here. 10 of his makes per game are coming inside the arc, and that's where his size and skill are completely overwhelming opponents. It's not just dunks and layups. He's hitting mid-range shots, floaters, post fades, all at a level that's extremely difficult to defend. Even when defenders contest the shot well, his release point is so high that they might as well not be there. Now throw in the free throws. He's getting to the line 10 times per game. That's a number reserved for the most aggressive, high-contact scorers. And he's not wasting those chances either. Those free throws are a major reason why his points per scoring attempt stay so high. When you average 1.3 points every time you go for a shot or get fouled, you're essentially bending the defense to your will. What makes all of this even more ridiculous is the consistency. He's not doing this once or twice in blowouts or garbage time. This is happening night after night against different defenders, against different schemes, and under different game situations. Whether it's in transition or in the half court, he's getting his points and making it look mechanical. Most players with this kind of scoring average tend to live on volume. They'll put up 25 or even 30 shots a night, and the scoring numbers look impressive until you look at the efficiency. Wemby is doing it with just 18.3 field goal attempts per game. That tells you how dialed in his shot selection is. He's not wasting possessions. Every shot has purpose, and every trip down the floor has a chance to end with points. The balance between his inside scoring, outside shooting, and free throw production is exactly what makes him so hard to guard. He's making 1 three-pointer per game, which keeps defenders honest. If you sag off, he'll pull it. If you close out hard, he'll pump and drive. And once he's near the rim, good luck. He finishes over people, through people, and around people. That kind of flexibility inside the arc is what lets him make those 10 two-point field goals every night. And the quality of looks he creates for himself is a huge part of this. He's not living off of easy assists or being spoon-fed by guards. A lot of his points are self-created. That adds even more value to every make. When a player can consistently create his own shot and still hit with that level of accuracy, it opens up everything else for the offense. Defenders can't afford to help off, and they're often forced into fouling him just to slow him down. Wemby's scoring isn't just efficient, it's disruptive. Teams are having to adjust their entire defense to account for him. That leads to breakdowns in other areas. Teammates are getting better looks because of the gravity he has when he's on the floor. But none of that happens without the fact that he's scoring 31 points per game and doing it with absurd shooting percentages. Take the true shooting percentage again, 67.4%. That includes field goals, three-pointers, and free throws, all rolled into one efficiency measure. For someone averaging over 30 points a night, that's nearly unheard of. Most high-usage players tend to see their efficiency drop the more shots they take. He's completely bucking that trend. Even if you just isolate his effective field goal percentage, 63%, you're still looking at elite territory. And that stat gives more weight to three-pointers, which means the number would be even higher if he were hitting more from deep. But the thing is, he doesn't need to. He's finding that sweet spot between volume and precision. It's not about launching from everywhere. It's about picking spots and punishing defenses when they make mistakes. The league average for effective field goal percentage hovers in the low 50s. He's well above that. He's turning possessions into points at a rate that's more efficient than nearly 3/4 of the league. And he's not doing it in a system built entirely around his touches. He's playing within the flow of the offense, taking smart shots and letting the game come to him. From a pure scoring standpoint, he's turned into a nightmare matchup. He's too tall for wings and too quick for centers. That combination is why he's scoring more efficiently than over 74% of players in the league, while also outscoring 97% of them. The scary part is how sustainable this all looks. He's not hitting crazy percentages from three that are bound to regress. He's not relying on some unsustainable shooting streak. The core of his scoring comes from inside the arc and from the line, two of the most reliable scoring areas in basketball. As long as he keeps getting to his spots and keeps drawing contact, these numbers could stay right where they are. And because of that, his scoring is becoming automatic, not in a flashy, highlight-driven way, but in a steady, reliable, borderline, inevitable way. That's what makes it so difficult to guard. You can send help, but he'll adjust. You can crowd him, but he'll draw the foul. You can play off, but he'll shoot over you. Every choice feels like the wrong one. When you combine volume, efficiency, and consistency, you end up with scoring that shifts the balance of a game. That's what Wemby's doing right now. He's putting up 31 points a night, doing it on fewer than 20 shots, and forcing defenses to react to him every single possession. There's no gimmick here. No one-off performance inflating the average. This is steady dominant, backed up by numbers that don't need exaggeration. He's at the top of the league in scoring volume, near the top in efficiency, and somewhere in a different galaxy when you combine the two. This isn't just a hot streak. This is a player who understands his role, knows how to score at all three levels, and refuses to settle for bad shots. He's finding the best available option on almost every trip down the floor, and making defenses pay for even the smallest mistakes. When players score this efficiently, it doesn't just help their team win, it demoralizes the opponent. It wears them down. They know he's going to score, they just do not know how to stop it. And once they get in foul trouble or start rotating too aggressively, the rest of the team benefits. But none of it starts without Wemby's 31 points per game on 67.4% true shooting. This level of scoring is built on fundamentals, touch, timing, and understanding. He's not just a tall guy throwing the ball at the rim, he's controlling pace, reading defenders, baiting contact, and punishing mistakes, all while keeping his efficiency in elite territory and taking fewer shots than most top scorers. Wemby is putting up 31 points every night in the least wasteful way possible. Every shot counts. Every trip to the line is maximized. Every possession with him ends with a high chance of points. And as long as that continues, defenses are going to keep scrambling for answers that do not exist. Then we can do the same exact thing for his defense. Wemby's defense this season has been so dominant, it ranks ahead of 100% of players in the league. That's not a typo. That's just the statistical reality of what happens when a 7'4" human being with impeccable timing, elite awareness, and no off switch decides that the rim is closed for business. The advanced metric for mixed team defense, which tracks both individual disruption and overall team impact, puts him at 100%. That means there's no one better. Not one player in the league has had a more complete defensive impact than him. Start with the blocks. He's averaging 4.8 per game. That's not just leading the league. It's warping the way offenses even think about attacking the paint. 4.8 blocks every night is the kind of number that sounds fake until you realize he's doing it across multiple games, against multiple schemes, and making it look routine. And it's not just the number, it's how and when those blocks happen. He's swatting shots at the rim, on closeouts, on weak side rotations, and even off the dribble. He's covering every square inch of the paint like a one-man zone. But he's not just a help defender or a rim protector who stands in the paint waiting to jump. He's also averaging 1.5 steals per game. That's a nightmare for any ball handler who thinks he can casually pass around or drive into Wemby's space. He uses his reach to disrupt passing lanes, his timing to poke the ball free from post players, and his footwork to stay with perimeter players long enough to force turnover. That combination of steals and blocks puts him in extremely rare company. Very few players ever average even 2 combined per game. He's sitting at over 6. That's defensive chaos. Now shift to the glass. He's pulling down 12 defensive rebounds per game. That's not just volume, that's control. Defensive rebounding ends possessions, and Wemby is ending them constantly. Every time a team misses, there's a good chance he's the one pulling the ball down and flipping the court. That kind of consistency on the boards also means fewer second chances for opponents, and that's a huge factor in team defense. It keeps pressure off the rest of the team, allows faster transition play, and sets the tone physically. All of that individual impact is part of why the Spurs' team defensive efficiency is sitting at 95.8 when he's on the floor. That's a metric that calculates how many points the other team scores per 100 possessions. 95.8 is elite by any standard. In a league where scoring is higher than ever and three-point shooting is the norm, having a number under 100 is almost unheard of. That means opponents just aren't scoring when he's on the court, no matter what style they're playing. And this is not one-dimensional dominance. He's not hiding in one area of the floor or only thriving in certain matchups. His mixed team defense rating reflects the total impact, guarding the pick and roll, closing out on shooters, switching onto wings, staying with guards on the perimeter, and anchoring the paint. All of it is elite. He's not just helping the defense, he is the defense. He's making it, so guards hesitate before driving. Big men rethink going up for second chance points. Shooters rush their shots just because they feel his presence nearby. That kind of psychological impact matters, even if it doesn't always show up in the box score. But in his case, it does show up constantly. 4.8 blocks and 1.5 steals per game is not just production, it's domination. Even when he's not blocking the shot, he's forcing misses, contesting at the rim, closing the angle, extending his arms to disrupt the shot line. All of those affect shooting percentages dramatically, and he does it without fouling. He's not gambling, lunging, or swatting wildly. His defensive discipline is what makes all of this work. It's one thing to block shots. It's another thing to do it while staying on the floor and not giving up. Free throw. On switches, he doesn't get exposed. Most bigs get cooked the moment a quick guard pulls them into space. Not Wemby. He slides his feet, cuts off drives, and uses his length to contest shots, even when he's half a step behind. That makes pick and roll defense easier for the Spurs. They don't have to hedge hard or blitz because he can contain both options on his own. In help situations, he's absurd. He rotates from the weak side with perfect timing. When a player thinks they've got an open look at the rim, Wemby arrives like a horror movie jump scare. Except instead of screaming, the shooter just throws up a wild shot that misses badly. His help defense is so good that it allows teammates to pressure the ball more aggressively, knowing he's behind them to clean up any breakdowns. That creates a ripple effect across the entire defense. Guards can gamble a little more. Wings can press higher on shooters. And all of it works because there's a giant human eraser under the basket, making sure mistakes don't become points. Even his transition defense is elite. Most big men struggle to get back. Wemby doesn't. He sprints the floor, tracks ball handlers, and uses his reach to alter fast break attempts. He's turned several sure layups into missed opportunities just by being in the right spot. That kind of end-to-end effort is rare in any player, let alone a center playing heavy minutes every game. And the numbers back it all up. He's leading the team in every advanced defensive metric, not just the raw box score stats. He's got the highest block rate, one of the best steal rates, the top defensive rebounding rate, and the lowest on-court opponent scoring rate. When he's out there, teams just do not score efficiently. It's also worth mentioning that the Spurs are winning these games largely because of that defense. When the offense cools off, they can rely on Wemby to shut down the other side. That's a luxury most teams do not have. He's anchoring a defensive identity that's built on pressure, rotation, and rim protection. And he's making it work at a level that puts him ahead of every other defender in the league. What makes this even more wild is that he's doing it without a veteran shot blocker next to him. He's the lone rim protector in most lineups, which means the responsibility falls entirely on him. And yet the team's defensive efficiency improves dramatically when he's on the floor. He's making everyone else's job easier without sacrificing any of his own production. There's no weak spot in his defensive game. He guards the pick and roll, switches on the perimeter, locks down the paint, recovers in transition, rotates on help, closes out on shooters, boxes out on the glass, and forces turnover. That's the entire checklist for elite defense, and he's checking every box, every night. This level of consistency is what separates him from other defenders. Anyone can have a big night with a couple of blocks or a highlight steal. Wemby's doing it game after game against elite competition and doing it without a drop in intensity. That's not just talent, that's commitment. He's making history with these numbers. Averaging nearly 5 blocks and over 1 steal a game is historic. Doing that while anchoring a defense with a sub-100 team efficiency is nearly unheard of. And doing all that while being the go-to offensive player as well, that's the part that makes this whole thing unreal. Wemby is not just the best defender on his team, he's the best defender in the league. And he's proving it with every possession. Whether it's contesting shots, swatting drives, jumping passing lanes, or cleaning the glass, he's doing everything. And the numbers do not lie. 100% defensive impact across all major metrics is not something you see, because it's not something that usually happens. There's no hiding from him. There's no attack the mismatch strategy that works. When he's on the court, he eliminates the paint, disrupts passing lanes, controls the glass, and makes entire offensive schemes look broken. This is the kind of season that gets remembered, not just for the raw numbers, but for how completely he controlled games on one end of the floor. And even if the offense takes a step back on any given night, the defense is always there. It never slips. It never slows down. It's always elite, always reliable, and always led by the guy wearing number 1. Wemby is defending the entire court and daring the league to figure out how to deal with it. So far, no one has come close. But then I want to look at this. Wemby's impact on teamwork and usage this season has been overwhelming in the most structured, efficient, and utterly disruptive way possible. The advanced metric for mixed teamwork ranks him ahead of 97% of all players in the league. And it's not based on vibes or hype. It's math, real, cold, brutal math that says his presence on the court translates directly into wins, margins, and sustained advantage over opponents. Start with offensive rating. When he's on the court, the Spurs average 121.2 points per 100 possession. That's the kind of number that turns good offenses into elite ones. He's making every offensive possession more valuable just by being involved, even when he's not the one taking the shot. The entire structure of the offense flows better when he's out there. Screens connect, passes lead to good looks, spacing opens up, and defenders have to commit extra help every time he even moves toward the paint. Now combine that with his defensive rating, which sits at 95.8. That number already stands out in isolation, but when you pair it with his offensive rating, it gives him a net rating of plus 25.4. That's the margin between what the Spurs score and what they allow when Wemby is on the floor. Plus 25.4 is astronomical. That is not just a sign of a strong player, that's franchise-changing impact. In fact, he's had a positive plus-minus in 75% of the games he's played. That means 3 out of every 4 times he steps on the court, his team outscores the other team while he's out there. That's a rare feat in today's league where rotations are tight, matchups shift constantly, and even top players see fluctuations in on-court performance. Wemby has been the stabilizing factor through all of it. The on-off numbers back that up without question. When he's on the floor, the Spurs score 17 more points than when he's off. That's not some soft stat from blowouts or bench-heavy minutes. That's a reflection of how the entire team functions differently when he's present. 17 points per game worth of impact is the kind of number that front offices dream about when they talk about value added. Wemby is producing that every single night just by existing inside the line, and he's doing it while carrying a usage rate of 33.1%. That's the percentage of offensive possessions that end with him shooting, getting fouled, turning it over, or assisting. 1 out of every 3 possessions ends with Wemby doing something that drives the outcome. And yet, he's not just soaking up volume. He's doing it while keeping the offense flowing, not clogging it. Let's break down the actions. He's taking 18.3 field goal attempts per game and getting to the line 10 times per game. That's a huge chunk of the offensive diet, and yet it doesn't feel forced. That's because he's also distributing the ball, averaging 2.8 assists per game and just 1.5 turnovers. That kind of assist to turnover ratio, while holding that level of usage, is not supposed to happen, especially not for a center. Possession by possession, he's involved in roughly 65 of them per game. That means he's engaged constantly, playing at a pace that requires relentless attention and decision-making. And despite that constant workload, his decision-making holds. He's not rushing possessions. He's not forcing bad shots. He's not turning the ball over, trying to do too much. His feel for the flow of the game is the reason the Spurs are able to run so much through him. Teammates benefit from it, just as much as the coaching staff does. When Wemby sets screens, the roll gravity is immense. Defenders collapse instantly, creating space for shooters. When he posts up, defenders scramble and help, which opens up easy back cuts and kick out. When he operates from the top of the key or in the short roll, his vision lets him hit cutters and wings for clean look. It's not just about him taking shots. It's about the quality of options created because of how often he touches the ball. That's why his presence is reflected in every advanced teamwork stat. He's creating positive outcomes in almost every lineup configuration. Whether he's on with other starters or working with bench units, the numbers stay high. That's because his skill set scales. He doesn't need a specific lineup to thrive. He fits into everyone and makes it better. The ripple effect from that usage is what fuels San Antonio's offensive balance. Wemby's gravity is forcing defenses into constant decision-making, and those decisions often result in easy looks for his teammates. Even when he doesn't get the assist, he's usually the reason the defense broke down in the first place. That's why the impact goes beyond just counting stats. It's embedded in the team's shot profile, ball movement, and scoring margin. And defensively, it's the same story. His rotations clean up mistakes. His communication calls out switches. His rebounding ends possessions. He's not just doing his own job, he's reinforcing everyone else's. That's why the team's defensive rating takes such a nosedive when he's off the floor. When he's on, everything connects. When he's off, the margin disappears. 17 points per game swing, remember? It's not just that he's used a lot, it's that he's used smartly and he handles it efficiently. 33.1% usage is massive. That's a number reserved for elite offensive centers of gravity. And Wemby handles it without needing 25 shots a game. He balances scoring with passing, he draws fouls, finishes through contact, and finds the open man. That's what makes him so essential to the Spurs system. He's not just the engine, he's also the steering, the brakes, and the GPS. Games where he's a high-volume scorer, the efficiency holds. Games where he takes fewer shots, he finds other ways to contribute. Assists, screens, rebounds, rotations. The impact never dips. The method just adjusts. That's the sign of a player who understands how to lead by presence, not just production. And the team numbers prove that. A net rating of plus 25.4 is not just high. It's elite, even for MVP candidates. That margin means the Spurs are winning the minutes Wemby plays by more than 25 points per 100 possession. That's the kind of swing that turns mediocre lineups into playoff-level threats. Even the games with negative plus-minus are typically tied to larger team struggles, not lapses in Wemby's effort or execution. He's consistently delivering his side of the performance. The Spurs' ability to stretch leads or recover from deficits often starts with getting him touches, getting him involved, and building possessions around his decision-making. He's not only active, he's trusted. Coaches are running offense through him in the clutch. Teammates are looking to him as a stabilizer when things get chaotic. And defenses are treating him like a problem they still do not have an answer for. That's the result of being both highly used and highly effective. Most players do not hit both sides of that equation. Wemby does, and he's doing it without sacrificing team chemistry or floor balance. What's most ridiculous is how natural it all looks. He doesn't force bad shots when the offense stalls. He doesn't over-dribble or ignore teammates. He plays within the system, but bends it toward his strengths. That kind of balance is what allows him to be the centerpiece without making the rest of the offense feel static or predictable. You can see the impact in every lineup he's part of. They score more, they allow less, they rebound better, they get to the free throw line more often, they take better shots. And all of that ties back to the fact that he's handling over a third of the offensive usage without turning it into a one-man show. This is why the mixed teamwork rating has him at 97%. It's a reflection of how much better the Spurs are, not just when he's playing well, but when he's simply present. Every other player gets easier opportunities because Wemby is absorbing so much attention, doing it efficiently, and making smart decisions when the defense collapses. There's no gimmick here, no weird rotations, no cherry-picked minutes. This is full game impact across 65 possessions a night, with sustained efficiency on both ends, and a usage rate that would break lesser players. But Wemby's not breaking. He's thriving. He's raising the floor, elevating the ceiling, and doing it all while the numbers keep screaming the same thing. The team is better in every measurable way when he's on the floor. He's not just a player with high usage. He's a system. A moving, passing, rebounding, scoring, defending system that happens to wear a jersey. And the numbers, across every advanced category, say the same thing. The Spurs are a better team by a huge margin when Wemby plays. The stats do not just favor him, they orbit him. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.